All right, Friday evening, everyone. It's 21 News Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm here, and we've got some cool things to talk about this evening on Weather for Weather Geeks. A little more astronomy than weather when it comes to the cool stuff that's going to happen over the next 12 hours or so. We'll talk about all that in this video, but first, quick review of the first 10 days of May in terms of precipitation. Now, we didn't register anything at the airport today, even though we had a scattering of showers this afternoon. A lot of them missed the airport. We did pick up 0.68 yesterday, bringing our monthly total to 2.36, but that's all occurred on 3 days. 3 wet days out of 10 and 7 zeros on the board, and so we're running 1.19 inches above average, but the dry days have certainly outnumbered the wet days thus far in May. You know, ever since about tax day, it hasn't actually been all that wet. We had a very wet start to April, but ever since then, it's been actually a little bit on the dry side compared to the average over the last about 3 weeks. Last of our scattered showers fading away very quickly early this evening as we head towards sunset. And the sky also is about to clear. We've had a few patches of clouds around, of course, over the last several hours. These will fade away, and that's really good news because I think we've got a pretty nice treat ahead of us for tonight. No doubt by this point, especially if you're kind of a science and weather nerd, you've heard about the aurora borealis or the northern lights probably being visible overnight tonight, and this is all about the interaction of the Earth's magnetic field and solar plasma and particles coming off of the sun and interacting with our magnetic field. It's a good thing that magnetic field exists, or our atmosphere will get stripped away and life would not be possible here on Earth. But that magnetic field is what protects us from the solar wind, but the solar wind, when it gets particularly strong, can create a geomagnetic storm where the particles follow the Earth's magnetic field, and then where the magnetic field is weakest at the poles, that's where those charged particles enter the Earth's atmosphere, and the result is colors. And if you have a strong enough magnetic storm, it can interfere with satellites and GPS and communications and things like that. Remains to be seen how much of that we'll see. Haven't seen too many reports of that on the other side of the globe where it's already nighttime. But as the electrons collide with the various molecules in the atmosphere, we get different colors. Now, I've seen a lot of pictures of pink in the sky in Europe and Asia, and at some pretty far south latitudes, which is encouraging for our chances here across Ohio and Pennsylvania of seeing a pretty good show overnight tonight. This is a geomagnetic storm, the likes of which we have not seen very often in recent years. In fact, this may be our best chance in a couple of decades to see a really good show from the northern lights. When we're talking about on the 0 to 9 scale, when we get up to a 7, 8 or so, that means the northern lights can be seen at some pretty far south latitudes, maybe even low on the horizon as far south as the Carolinas, Georgia, Alabama, Texas, California, places like that. Higher confidence, of course, as you head off to the north, and as far north as we are in Ohio and Pennsylvania. This may not be just on the horizon. We may see, some colors farther up than the horizon, based on what we've seen so far in similar latitudes over in Europe and Asia, and even farther south latitudes than we are at. So all of that is potentially some good news. So some tips on the northern lights tonight. I've gotten a lot of questions on Facebook in particular, despite me putting it on this graphic right here and talking about it in multiple posts on Facebook. I'm getting asked a lot, where do we look? When do we look? Look north. They're the northern lights. And the answer is, as far as when, just wait until it's completely dark. Not just after sunset, but when there's no sunlight at all in the sky. And allow your eyes a little time to adjust. You want a clear view of the northern horizon. Even though it's possible, I think we might see some color above the horizon, not just low on the horizon. If you're going to try to photograph this, based on what we're seeing in Europe and Asia, even your phone might do okay. But if you really want to get some high quality pictures, a long exposure photograph with a real camera, not just your camera phone, may be the way to go. All right, as far as the sensible weather, once we get past tonight's potential show in our skies, soggy Saturday coming up. It's going to start raining by about 10 o'clock or so in most spots, and it's going to rain steadily for a few hours. Once that band pushes through, we get into a little bit more of a scattered shower regime, and we also increase our chances for thunderstorms, I think. As Saturday afternoon wears on, no severe weather expected around here, but there could be pretty healthy downpours, maybe even some small hail or graupel in any heavier showers or storms during the afternoon. So again, our first rain band moves through probably starting before 10 o'clock even in some spots, but certainly by 10 or 11, it'll be raining in most spots. This pushes to the east of I-79 by early in the afternoon. Then it's more of a scattered shower regime, and once that scattered shower regime settles in, it's here for a lot of the evening and into the overnight as well. And as far as our Sunday forecast, early risers will encounter clouds and maybe a stray shower or two early Sunday, but the vast majority of Sunday should be just fine. In fact, the sun is likely to come out Sunday afternoon. And as this warm front pushes through on Monday, that'll unlock the doors to a warmer, more seasonable air mass for next week. So we're going to be on the cool side for the weekend, certainly, but warmer times are ahead next week. Our weekend temperatures, this 59 could even be a little optimistic on Saturday. It may be a day where we are no higher than the mid-50s. We'll do better Sunday, 62. Now, that's still about 8 degrees below average, but we'll take it with some afternoon sunshine on Sunday. Like we often do on Fridays, let's take a look at the medium and long range here. These are the Climate Prediction Center outlooks, updated every Friday, 6 to 10 day, 8 to 14 day, and weeks 3 and 4. The temperatures up top, this is precipitation at the bottom, and in the medium range, 6 to 10 day, 8 to 14 day, it's looking still pretty unsettled. Last week at this time, I was kind of thinking we'd get into a drier pattern during mid-May, but it's kind of been yanked away a little bit on some of the modeling. And it also does not look real warm for the rest of the month. Now, we'll be warmer than average on balance next week, but only by a few degrees. It's not like we're going to see upper 80s or anything like that. We'll get into a little bit more of a neutral pattern. I guess I wouldn't be surprised if we had some times of below average temperatures, kind of like the pattern we're in right now. I wouldn't be surprised if that pattern tries to return at times later this month and early into June. Again, next week I think we'll probably do a summer forecast, and what I'm thinking overall for the summer is it's going to be a hot one, but it may not start that way. June could see a continuation of the May pattern, where it doesn't look cold, no, but it doesn't look excessively warm just yet in June. Maybe not, but I think July and August have more potential for excessive heat and perhaps some drier risks as well as the summer wears on. That'll do it for me tonight on Weather for Weather Geeks. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms and grandmas out there. I'll see you back here Monday evening.